Last spring was a dark time when the Delaware Art Museum's Board of Trustees decided to sell art from its collection to pay off $20 million in outstanding debt.
We have an endowment that is close to $22 million right now. Had we used that to pay the debt down, then we would have been short on operations, and we would have had to close the doors.
The museum sold William Hallman Hunt's Isabella and the Pot of Basil, Winslow Homer's Milking Time, Alexander Calder's Black Crescent, and Andrew Wyeth's Arthur Cleveland. Permission wasn't received in time for us to show you the last two copyrighted works of art.
It was just a really heartbreaking decision that the board had to come to. And I don't think there's a person here that believes they did it unnecessarily.
Critics didn't see it that way, and industry groups blasted the decision. The Association of Art Museum Directors imposed sanctions, and the American Alliance of Museums stripped the Delaware Art Museum of its accreditation. The translation, outside art or exhibitions, is limited.
There's certainly no denying that several projects are on hold, knowing that exhibitions are there are key objects that we need for those exhibitions that we can't get.
But Chief Curator Margareta Frederick says museum goers aren't missing out, since most museums, including this one, only display about 2% of their permanent collections.
Our collection is 12,000 strong, so just looking at this gallery, you can imagine we can't possibly have it all up at once. In fact, the iterations are almost infinite.
Some of those iterations are now part of the 2016 exhibition schedule. The pre-Raphaelite art of Maurice Bartley Stillman kicks things off. Stillman was one of only a few 19th century female artists.
She's beautiful works of art, and we're going to showcase 40 of them, many of them in private collections, so people have never seen them, or at least not since her lifetime.
A lot of people would come to me and I guess you're going to be cutting back, and no, we're not.
Quite the opposite. Miller says the museum's spending more as it focuses on increasing visitors, members, and donors.
People come because there's a reason to come, so they'd stop coming, and then there's a death spiral. So we're doing more, get more people in there, get people excited about it, and we're starting to see it.
Compared to last year, attendance numbers through October are up 17%, and membership is up 6%, Miller says.
I think that's a statement that we're doing the right things.
Like updating the Kids Corner, expanding their hours, and adding more social programs to the calendar, like hip-hop and food trucks. Close to 2,000 people turned out for the event, closing out the museum's successful Dream Streets exhibit, which showcased the talents of artists in Wilmington from the 70s and 80s.
There is a real wealth here in the community of things that don't get out much.
A show that might not have ever happened if it weren't for the sanctions and the creativity of museum staffers. Slated for March, over 90 works of art will make up an exhibition called Our America, the Latino Presence in American Art.
It comes from the Smithsonian Museum of American Art, and it is absolutely sensational. It's all kinds of works of art, paintings, drawings, prints.
Delaware is one of the show's many stops. The Smithsonian knows all about the sanctions, but is honoring an agreement made well before the drama unfolded. A statement from the Smithsonian read, "We oppose any museum selling parts of its collection to pay the bills. The exhibit is not a collaborative effort between the Smithsonian American Art Museum and the Delaware Art Museum, but is an exhibition wholly conceived and organized by the Smithsonian." While questions remain about how much longer the AAMD and the AAM will drag out its punishments,
I think we all feel like we're on the way out of the dark, and we have a really good future ahead of us.
And a long future, Miller adds, that does not include the sale of any more art.